Okay, everybody, let's take it from the top.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Hi, ho, everybody, and welcome back to D Plus Us, the show about all things Disney. I'm one of your hosts, Griffin Tennell, Griffey D-Pad, and with me, as always, is the wonderful, the amazing Mr. Mitch George. How are you doing tonight?
I'm very glad we don't use my recording because I forgot to make sure the video was working on my side for like the first 6 or 7 seconds. So there was just nothing.
Whoops. So, well, that shit happens.
This will be the one time we need it, won't it be?
Yeah, right? This is the one time that everything on my end is just going to fall apart.
Oh, well.
Alas, we're here, we're hanging out, world's on fire again, much like the head of a certain dragon at the Disney parks.
We'll get into that. We're not going to get into the world stuff, I would assume. I would hope.
Oh, God, no.
This is our escape from the madness that is the planet right now.
No, we're giving ourselves a break this week. We're talking about a fun thing this episode. We're going back to the parks, Mitch, as you
Love
know.
it.
And I have consistently rubbed in your face. I was just at the parks. And it was
Yes, you
fantastic
were.
and wonderful. And Jesus Christ, it was so goddamn hot.
Florida in the summer is not fun. My last trip was in the summer, and we'll get into that.
Hey, yeah. Florida in the summer is a interesting time. Weirdly enough, though, I was not the worst of my family in handling the heat. That fully goes to my father, who totally thought I was going to be struggling in my entire way through it. But alas, we are talking today about, I would say, one of our favorite topics when it comes to the parks, which is the nighttime shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love
We've done,
the
what,
shows.
3 episodes now, or no?
Most of them have just been kind of generic. We talked about
Parks
your
episodes.
parks episodes. We talked about your trip, your last
Yeah.
trip. Running into our boy Aaron.
Hey, Aaron,
We
what's
did an
good?
episode all about what it's like doing your first trip to Disney.
Yeah.
And then there was one other one in there, but this is the first time I think we've.
I feel like
stuck
behind
to-
the attractions, maybe we got into.
Well, there's all.
I
I
don't
was
know if
gonna
they've
say
done an
there.
episode of- there's an episode of Behind the Attraction that's on like the shows and fireworks, I believe.
I was gonna say we did the behind the attraction stuff, which is literally just like let's talk about the parks for 30 minutes.
Pretty
Great
much.
episodes. Some of our best content, frankly.
I need another season,
Yeah, same.
like now,
But
or I just need to go into a rewatch.
I think this is our first time of really like breaking down a show
Yeah,
at Disney, and it feels like a good one to do it. It was.
it certainly won't be the last.
No, there's other shows that we love.
Okay, so I want to fact check myself. The 6th episode of season 2 of Behind the Attraction is titled Nighttime Spectaculars. So we definitely got into it there.
Yeah, but I feel like that one we focused mostly on Happily Ever After and the fact that they only showed it in that for like maybe.
I think it was more about
5
World
minutes.
of Color because
It
I
was,
had recently done the Disneyland trip, right? But
Yeah, well, we also
I
we yelled at
digress.
them for only showing showing
Fantasmic
the
for 3
best
seconds.
fireworks show, for like 2 seconds, and then moving on.
It's okay. We're now here to talk about the second best fireworks show at Disney.
I would say this is the best show at Disney, but I would also say this is not a fireworks show. This is fully a stage show. This is unlike anything else at Disney. We are talking about Fantasmic. I'm fully decked out and prepared for our video watchers,
I'm not. You're lucky I put on a Pixar shirt.
and I can finally do this. I have a cup, Mitch.
Why do you have a cup?
It lights up.
Oh my fucking god.
I got this on my last trip. Every single one of my family was like, "Why the hell did you buy that?" And to this day, I do
For
not
this
know.
for this moment exactly is the only reason you bought this damn cup that I'm assuming you're drinking Diet Dr. Pepper out of?
Close that Coke.
Ah, I'll take it.
I'm immediately turning these lights off because they're massively distracting.
But also shout out to Diet Dr. Pepper. It's probably the king of diet sodas.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we are here to talk about Fantasmic, one of my favorite things in the parks. Recently getting an update. There's a ton of different versions of the show. You should not watch pretty much all of them on YouTube, and I recommend doing so. For the sake of ease, we are going to be focusing on the most recent version of it at the Florida parks. I have not seen the new California version. I presume Mitch has not either.
When did they update the California version?
Like a couple
'Cause I
months
did
ago.
Okay, because I was going to say, I saw the California version a couple of weeks after they reintroduced Maleficent. post fire incident in,
Yeah, that was the
I
most
guess this
recent
was October 2021 was when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a couple of years.
Yeah, so yeah,
It's been
Maleficent.
almost 3 years.
Yeah, that Murphy caught on fire yet again. I don't know if we're still calling that dragon Murphy or not, but that dragon was not long for this world. What's hilarious to me is then that was followed up with, I want to say it was the Magic Happens parade. You can welcome to fact check me on it, but there was a Maleficent float that breathed fire. Once again, its head caught on fire. Like Maleficent, just as a concept, is like, I feel like at this point it's just a no-go in the parks. Do not use this dragon; it will catch on fire.
Use the other dragon sitting behind Griffin, hanging upside down from his
use
bookshelf.
Figment. This dragon is fantastic and wonderful, but
Is error prone, we'll say.
except in Florida, it's weirdly good in Florida. Probably because it has its own entire fucking stage and amphitheater. But
Honestly, I kind of like the way that it's done in. I mean, we're going to kind of be all over the place, right? I don't know if you want to have any specific structure to this, but like having seen it in Florida now, like as a kid and as an adult, I kind of liked how small and intimate it was at Disneyland, where it's just like, yeah, let's just shut down Mark Twain Island and now here's the show. And I thought it was really, really neat. And it felt more like other parks shows where it's just like, sit down, watch the parade, sit down, watch the fireworks. I thought that was really neat. And but in Florida, it's a whole, oh my God, this last trip.
it is an event.
We showed up probably 45 minutes before the show.
Oh,
And we just got in.
I'm shocked you got it.
Me too. Well, this was also the last week of August, so a lot of kids were back in school in the US. It was actually a really great time to visit, other than the heat, which we'll get into. But yeah, we got really lucky getting into the theater. But if you know the Fantasmic Amphitheater, we were in the section as far as you can get from the exit. So it took, we almost missed the Skyliner back to our resort, which stopped operating 90 minutes after the park closed.
Yeah, getting out of that park after Fantasmic is
nuts.
It was interesting going when I went because they were only doing one showing. They typically do two.
Yeah, there was one showing when I went as well.
Okay, so maybe they're just doing one showing now, post-COVID. But like
I think post-COVID, I don't think
always,
they've done more than one. Yeah.
Growing up, I knew they always did two because they had the morning
Yeah,
one.
when I went, when I was there in 2017, if I get that year wrong, Carmen's gonna kill me. Carmen.
Okay,
What year
are
were
we
we
about
in
to watch Mitch's death live on air?
First time. Shit.
You got it wrong.
Love you.
You got it wrong, didn't you?
Shut up.
What was it?
So
No, I want to know the actual date now.
Definitely. I was off by a year. When we were there pre-COVID, it was two showings, and we went to the. So what was interesting is that trip we had a bit of magic, which I know is weird to say as an adult, not at the theme parks, but we were on the bus back to the park, and there was just this older woman sitting on the bus alone. She saw us. She's like, "Hey, you guys look nice. Do you want tickets to get priority seating for Fantasmic?" And we just look at this lady like, "What are you on right now?"
Yes.
It's like, "Oh yeah, my kids didn't want to go to the show. We had the dining package or the dessert package or whatever. So here you go." And she handed us, like we had fast passes for it, so we would still get the fast pass priority seating. But that was really, really nice of her, and I appreciate that to this day.
Yeah, that dining package is absolutely the way to go. That's kind of one of the things I want to throw out there right off the bat is if you are planning on going and seeing Fantasmic, and very frankly, you should. It is absolutely a must-do when you're in Florida.
I would say at any Disney park that has this show, you should prioritize seeing the show.
Like I said, this is specific to Florida. I don't know enough about Disneyland's process for this. But you should do the dining plan if you're going to
I just meant see the show in general. I don't know if there's, yeah.
Yeah, that's how we did it this time around, and it was so easy. We finally got to go check out Mama Melrose's, which is kind of this Italian restaurant that's really, really hidden away from the rest of the parks. I'll tell you what. You have to go back it's by the exit to the Muppets show.
Yeah, it's in a weird spot.
Behind a gift shop that is now closed down. Like it is a really weird spot. But they recently redid their menu. I want to say earlier this year, and it's a fantastic little Italian food place. But we did that. They gave us our tickets. I will say so.
Yeah, in California or in Florida, it's like I'm looking it up now. You get a choice of 5 restaurants, and the price varies depending on the restaurant, and it's an entree and dessert at one of those restaurants, or buffet if it's a buffet restaurant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I highly recommend doing it at like Mama Melrose's or
Hollywood
80s?
and Vine.
Is it 50s prime time? 50s prime time diner. 50s prime time
Sci-Fi Dine-In and the Hollywood Brown Derby are the
I will never recommend Sci-Fi Dine-In. That place sucks.
But they are, so for those who are thinking about it, starting in August, the package will include an optional alcoholic beverage, whereas right now you're limited to non-alcoholic, but prices are increasing across the board.
Yeah, prices are increasing. So, I still think it's worth it. The seating is fantastic. It is that middle section of the amphitheater is entirely reserved for the dining plan. The way we ended up doing it for my family this year was like my dad and we didn't really have a ton we wanted to do in the park in between our ridiculously early dining reservation and the show. So we went on like Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and like Star Tours. And we're like, okay, my dad and I were like, we're going to go hang out, reserve some seats. My mom and brother went and did some shopping. They eventually came and joined us. And it was the easiest thing in the world with the tickets. Walking up, there was nobody. They essentially give you like these paper tickets and they just kind of rip them when you walk in. And we went in, grabbed a couple drinks. That's how I got this beautiful, beautiful thing.
$23 later.
Actually, I think it was about that. I think you actually nailed it.
With a beer, I wouldn't imagine it being much less.
Because I bought this for myself with a beer, and then I bought a beer for my dad as well. And I think it was about $23.
At least $20.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's interesting that's a very similar experience to our first time seeing Fantasmic in Florida as adults. I can't remember as a kid, so it is what it is. But my mom raves about how much she loves that show, which is why I'm glad I got to see it with her last year. Yeah, last year. But anyway, back to 2018, which is totally the year that I said the first time around. We had a similar day where this was pre-Galaxy's Edge. Toy Story Land was there, but that was one of those things where it was still the old Fast Pass days. It wasn't Lightning Lanes, Genie Plus, Lightning Lane Priority, whatever they're calling it now. I don't even freaking know. So I did our Fast Passes for Toy Story Land. We had those first thing in the morning. We did the rest of the day of like here and there, go Muppets Vision, Star Tours, do all the little stuff we wanted to do. We had Park Hopper, but I think that day it was more so, we got everything done early. Let's grab a bite to eat for lunch. We'll head back to the hotel. We'll have a bite to eat at the hotel. We'll come back just for the show. We're just coming back for Fantasmic. And that was actually really nice, where since Hollywood Studios is a bit of a smaller park, and this was right at the end of our trip, it made it easy to be like, all right, we've already done Tower of Terror. We've already done all these other things. So let's just have a pretty chill day. We'll have a chill day at the resort, go back, see the show. And honestly, I wish I had done this my most recent trip, because my mom, bless her heart, was rope drop to close, no breaks, no back to the resort, no nothing, except for the one day that I was very, very sick. And probably should have stayed in my hotel, because it turned out when I got home it was COVID, but at the time we didn't know. But our last day was Hollywood Studios. We did everything you'd want to do in Hollywood Studios, including dealing with Mickey and Minnie breaking down twice while we were in the queue, and once while we were on the ride.
That's what happened to us when we tried to go on the first time. We were in line, and we were in the Fast Pass line specifically, so we were able to get that comped and come back later. But.
Yeah, we got a comped and came back, but we also then tried to do, before going to Fantasmic, because we didn't have dining plan, we didn't have any of this stuff. We're like, all right, there was like 2 hours left to close. Like, all right, we're gonna go hit up Rise of the Resistance. The line was only like 40 minutes long. We're like, this is great. We'll get through that. It'll be our last ride, and then we'll go to Fantasmic. We'll have a great time. And then we get in queue. We get through the first part of the pre-show, and then we wait, and we wait, and we wait, and eventually we're evacuated backstage off of Rise of the Resistance, and it closes for the rest of the day. And this is our last day, so there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah.
So then we go to get to Fantasmic. They're like, all right, it's closed, whatever. But we spent probably an hour waiting for the ride because they just didn't. People couldn't leave. They were just waiting to see if it was going to resume, and it didn't. So we had about 45 minutes to get to Fantasmic. We got there, thankfully, but it was the worst seating I've ever had at any of the shows, California or Florida. It was after a full park day, so my feet were on fire. This was day 2 or 3 of being very sick in a foreign land. You don't think of the U.S. as being foreign if you're Canadian, but when you're in another country, healthcare is weird. Everything's just weird. You're not home. You don't have the comforts of home. So it's you definitely feel off, even though it doesn't feel like you wouldn't think it would feel as weird being in the US as a Canadian, but it does definitely feel like you're away from home. It was a weird feeling and a weird way to end the trip, but getting to experience that with my mom again was the highlight of the trip, I think, for me.
It was our
probably Cosmic Rewind, but we've talked about that enough.
Yeah, it's funny. We started this last trip for us with Happily Ever After, which I sent you a picture of, like the location that I got us for Happily Ever After, which I'm still shocked I got.
Which was exactly where we were stood because it was right behind the partner statue, right?
It was right in front of it.
Or right in front of it, which is exactly where we were when we watched the show. And that's how I found out that Aaron was at the park, because he was right behind the statue. And I saw his post the day after. Like, what the heck?
We started with that, and then Fantasmic was our last night. And it was absolutely the way to do it. Like, those were the 2 big things I knew I had to accomplish on that trip. Because I have not seen the new version. I went into it totally blind. I refused to watch anything about it because I knew that they were adding new additions. I knew that they were taking some stuff away. Like, I knew that they were going to get rid of like the 15-minute long Pocahontas section.
Which I don't love, because I don't love that they're doing that, because I love that section of the show.
I love that, but I really love the additions that they added as well. We'll get into the actual show here in just a second. But like, logistics are 20% of the conversation whenever it comes to anything Disney, right?
And especially when it comes to something as technical as like the river show that goes along with the stage show, which goes along with the fireworks show, and just all of the technical aspects of it are so impressive.
But yeah, like getting in there and actually getting to do it was absolutely a highlight of my trip. The pre-show is super fun. Like, there's definitely a vibe in that amphitheater of like happiness and like excitement, especially with like the soundtrack that they use in there, of bringing you back to like the old like Disney hits soundtracks where it was just covers of Disney songs.
Okay,
you think that Simple Plan version is gonna be in that pre-show now?
I was just gonna ask you about your thoughts on that song and the fact that we're getting this album.
I love it. It is weirdly a banger, and I will be listening to every single song on that new album.
So
this is made for us.
I was going to say, Disney's done a great job of doing this sort of thing. They I think it was last year, the year before, they did a lo-fi album. They've done these piano and guitar, like acoustic or solo albums, which have all been really, really great to like just listen to or work to.
I cursed the lo-fi one specifically just because it makes now finding background music for the video essays significantly harder.
That's understandable. So, sorry, I was just trying to find a release date for that album, and I think it's the end of the year.
But yeah, Disney's currently working on a pop punk version of a bunch of their songs for this new album. I forget the actual name of it.
A Whole New Sound.
Whole New Sound, thank you.
So it's not specifically a pop punk album. It's going to be a collection of alternative rock and pop punk covers of classic Disney songs. And yeah, it just says full album. Oh God. And vinyl will be available later this year.
Oh, you can't tell me you're not surprised.
I know,
of
but
course
I'm
they were going to do it.
Going to buy it.
Oh yeah, of course
I gotta buy. If I don't pre-order it now, I'm not going to buy it because, baby.
Good point. Yes, the song is a banger, and I really do think it's going to end up in that pre-show. Because why wouldn't it?
I mean, they're going to be not debuting it, but they're going to debut it live at D23. With Simple Plan doing a live performance. So like Simple Plan does the parks thing every year. I can't remember what
The
what
thing
they call
in
the
Epcot?
festival during the Food and Wine.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it. But yeah, which I feel like we screwed up not trying to go to D23 this year. D23 this year seems like it's going to be a banger of a show.
It's going to be a banger every year, and I definitely couldn't find a way to budget for that.
Oh,
I've got other
absolutely
things
same.
to
But
budget
like,
for.
I could have at least
Eat to the beat.
dreamed. Eat to the beat.
Eat to the beat. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't afford it either, but we can at least dream, right?
Sure.
D23
someday,
episode
somehow,
coming soon.
gonna make it all right, but not right now.
D23 episode's probably going to be one of our next episodes, probably after Deadpool.
Yeah.
I say that
Yeah, no, it should
weirdly
be.
confident with no calendar in front of me, no idea what the release dates are on anything. But
Is this coming out? This coming out this week?
yeah, this comes out on a Tuesday.
Then yes, our next episode will be D23.
It'll be D23 before Deadpool.
No, well, so it'll be Deadpool D23. It will
Okay.
be that in order because Deadpool comes out a week from Thursday or a week from Friday, and then D23 is 2 weeks after that. So we'll have the weekend to record it, and then it'll release that following Tuesday after D23. It actually lines up really nice.
Oh, perfect. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bringing it back to the show. I think we've talked about a lot.
Right. We're talking about.
I want to also just talk about just kind of the setup it has there, of like this separate amphitheater apart from everything, which is really smart for this style of show with how much the show has going on. I think that's kind of I think that's kind of the highlight of the show is just how much it has going on.
The presentation of it. And I think for a park like Hollywood Studios, it was originally designed as probably a half-day park. It wasn't a full-day parks experience. But now with the additions of Star Wars and Toy Story and whatever comes next, it really has become like, you ask a lot of people their favorite park, and if they're into those IPs, Hollywood Studios is going to be up there. So to be able to end a day at Hollywood Studios where you've enjoyed all this IP, taken in all of this, nostalgia for Hollywood and film production. I mean, less so now with the replacing of the Great Movie Ride with Mickey and Minnie's, but that's also a great attraction when it works. There's so much to do, and it's really hard not to call that a full day park now, especially with being able to start it, rope dropping your favorite attraction, which is probably hopefully Rise of the Resistance, or if you got kids, it's probably Slinky. Gets the worst, I think.
Yeah, it's a
during the day.
Slinky Dog. Mostly just because that
Yeah.
line sucks from the heat. Although I'll tell
It's
you
so
what,
bad.
they finally
There's
added
no
more.
shade in that
They've
entire area
added
of
more.
the park.
They've added more umbrellas to that line.
They don't need umbrellas. They need permanent structures with AC and fans.
No,
Or
they
fans with misters.
they've added fans. That line
Okay.
is significantly better now. It's not perfect,
No,
but it's
I almost
way
died
better.
in 2022. No,
They've added
23.
umbrellas. They also did the thing of it's like, the 3-pointed like tarps that are connected.
Yeah, like canopy style.
Canopies.
Almost.
Yeah, thank you. I could not think of the word.
I got you. Yeah, so I mean, you start your day with one of those big attractions. You end your day with Fantasmic, and you're having a great time. It's also, at least for us, when we went in 2018, we actually saw the show. Like, there are multiple nighttime shows at Hollywood Studios, so to be able to see them, we took advantage of park hopping. So one night we saw the projection show on the
tower or on the theater?
tower and stuff. The Mickey and Minnie's theater. And another night we saw Fantasmic, and I think that's a great way to enjoy Hollywood Studios.
I'm sorry. Backing up for a second. You mean the Chinese theater? This
Yeah, the
very,
Mickey and Minnie
very
theater.
famous theater based
the
off
Mickey
of the
and Minnie
theater in California.
Yeah, the Mickey and Minnie's theater.
I'm sorry. It's just the Chinese theater is this massive landmark, and you're calling it the Mickey and Minnie's theater, and that just hurts.
Yeah, it's the Mickey and Minnie's
I
theater.
hate you so
Just
much.
how the Tower of Terror is the Hollywood Hotel or whatever, right?
Just for this, I am clipping out the segment of you forgetting what year and sending it to Carmen.
Look, it's been a long 6 years, all right? There was a global pandemic in there. I'm allowed to miss by about a year on anything in that time period, all right? That's just the rules now.
I'm giving you
post-COVID.
6 months. But no, all that said and done, the show's fantastic. It's wonderful, and I want to actually talk about the bits and bops and plots. And
I do want to talk
here.
about one fun fact about the California one.
Oh yeah, hit me, because I have some stuff on that one too.
The day it opened was also the start of the Rodney King riots.
So yeah, they had to delay their opening because of that.
They had to delay their opening because of the Rodney King riots in LA in 1992.
Well, so do you know why that was the case?
Because the promotional materials
tagline?
catchphrase, be there when the night ignites, which is exactly what LA did.
Oh yeah, they did.
April 29th, 1992.
It's once upon a time, a couple YouTube channels ago, I was working on a video essay all about Fantasmic and about this delay, because I was like, that is insane, the timing of all of that, and like really breaking it down. It's like some of the they were heavy on the advertising for Ignite the Night, which is frankly is a very, very good tagline.
It's just very poorly timed.
Yeah, it's also like a lot of the Fantasmic's history is really weird. Like the 15-minute Pocahontas scene in Florida's existed purely because the original opened right before Pocahontas came out, and they wanted to drum up interest in Pocahontas. Like the history of Fantasmic is a very, very strange one, and it's something that like I highly recommend looking into.
I'm also just very happy that it has been able to survive for as long as it has, because can you think of any other show at Disney that has outlasted Fantasmic? I don't think there are any.
I mean, a couple
of the original shows
maybe, but
even then, like, I know they bring back the Electric Mayhem show or whatever it's called, the nighttime
Main Street
one.
Electrical Parade.
That's the one. Yeah, I'm doing real good tonight, y'all.
Yeah, you're great. You're doing great. Keep it up.
But it does feel like there are a lot of opening day attractions. There are not a lot of, I'm not going to say opening day, because obviously this wasn't opening day for Disneyland when it opened in 92. I don't remember if it was opening day for Hollywood Studios.
I don't believe so. I think they had to add
But
it.
even then, just how long it has lasted is very, very cool.
Yeah, I really do love this show, and like what it embodies for Disney with the ideas of it being all about dreams, especially. I think it's something very, very special. Dreams and Mickey's imagination, and how you can pull all these different Disney IP into it.
Okay, so it was definitely not opening day at Hollywood Studios, because that opened in 1989, and this show debuted in 1998. So,
but I think the thing that makes this show special, at least in Florida, is that it is not treated like a fireworks show. Like fireworks shows typically are getting swapped out for holidays, get swapped out every 6-7 years.
it is not a seasonal show. It is a permanent.
It is a stage show
staple
for
in the
Disney.
park.
And I think that's the big thing here. It's like their fireworks are a part of it, but there's also pyrotechnics, waterworks, projections, lighting, actors. So many aerial stunts, and it is so cool.
The Aladdin bit, that's my spot. I love the Aladdin bit.
The Aladdin bit was so fun. For me, one of my favorite moments was the Moana bit in the new one. With just how they use the waterworks and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the show is remarkable now, but the lighting especially, like the opening shots of how the lighting starts, I think is like such a special moment in the show of like the lights rising up onto the stage, shining, blinding you to some degree, and then just all coming together, and there's Mickey, and it's going to be this epic, fun, let's party and have a good time moment. The show is just so fun with what it does. Talking to the actual plot itself, the plot is very, very thin. I don't think it needs to be, especially.
It's a stage show at a Disney park. It's not going to be cinematic masterpiece.
but it weirdly still is to some degree, just from pure spectacle. But yeah, the whole idea of, hey, the villains are Mickey's having this awesome dream, dreaming about all of the other people in Disney products. You know, we see
Better than friggin' Winnie the Pooh's nightmare on his ride.
oh yeah,
Friggin' Heffalump, man.
which is funny
Gets
because
me
the
every time.
Heffalumps exist, but still the most terrifying thing in the entire ride is Tigger's Abyss. But yeah, having all of these things and it being a spectacle, we have the Aladdin scene, the Mulan theme now being a new addition was one of my favorites as well. Pocahontas is there. I forget if that's when Elsa shows up, or if that was not further on.
It's all kind of mixed in there.
But the big kind of showstopper in this part being the Lion King. I just can't wait to be king and getting these neon animals jumping around, dancing around.
Well, not even the neon animals. They also have the they have the puppets and stuff too, right?
Yeah. And then Rafiki is there on stage. Honestly, it's the neon monkeys for me. The neon monkeys are the most memorable thing for me in that.
Yeah, they're so much fun.
Mm-hmm. But that's also kind of the first time they're using the floats as well.
Mm-hmm.
In all of it.
Yeah, it's the first time they pull the barges out to have some of the animals.
Yeah,
Get Timon and Pumbaa out there doing their Timon and Pumbaa things.
Are they there?
I thought they were on the barges.
Well, no, the barges are the monkeys now.
Oh, right. Yeah, maybe that was an older version.
Mm-hmm. But also, I think one of the cool things in all of this is the actual projection mapping onto the what's the word?
Onto the stage.
Well, water, but mist. There we go, mist. What?
Bringing some of the water effects that were pioneered with World of Color, and then friggin' lights, man.
I'll tell you what, I'm blinding myself.
With World of Color. I'll get back to it. Pioneered with World of Color. Universal's done something very similar at I don't know if it's Universal or Islands of Adventure, but in Florida they do their own nighttime water show, and they use it to great effect here as well.
I'll have you know, I blind myself every time I take a step out of this, but it's great for the bit.
It's really not, because most people are like, there's a lot of people that are listening to us and not watching us.
I know, that's why I don't know why I'm dedicated.
Doesn't help.
It's dumb. I do like, speaking on like the different characters and stuff, I really appreciate that they kept Pocahontas in there.
Yeah,
I think
it's one of the few uses of Pocahontas in parks, especially now with Animal Kingdom doing away with their barge show.
Yeah, I think it's such an important piece of that history now that you can't just do away with it. But then it's a blink and you miss it moment because it just keeps going into more shows.
Yeah. It really is a nonstop tribute to just all things Disney, which I really appreciate.
And then, but I think as far as like techniques go, I want to shout out the Elsa scene the most. This was probably the most like baffling part to me, of using Elsa on stage and having her magical effects on the water in front of her. Like, it was just so cool. Like that's really, it's one of those things where I could try to put it as eloquently as I can, but it ultimately just comes down to it's freaking cool in a hype ass moment. And I think it has the added effect of being able to use that and still use Idina Menzel's voice for it. It just works so damn well. To get into some of the actual villains as well, we get a shout out from like some of my favorite villains. I love like the main villain of this is not who you would expect it to be. Like the main villain of this show is the Evil Queen.
Yeah.
Who gathers everyone together, and eventually we get to Maleficent. But before we get to Maleficent, we have freaking Chernabog. Like, Chernobog is like one of the main marketing villains of Fantasmic, which is always wild to me that they have this reference for this character that is otherwise mostly forgotten. Like, Chernobog pops up in a couple things here and there. Like, he was in a Kingdom Hearts game. But aside from that, like, does he really pop up in anything? I don't think so.
Not really.
Like, I know he was in an episode of House of Mouse, but like everyone was in an
doesn't-
episode of House of Mouse.
I was going to say that doesn't narrow it down to like having prominence. I think really it is just, Kingdom Hearts in this.
And like, they do a great job of it, making it like primarily motion capture, and it gets real freaking dark. Like, they show everything from Nightmare on Bald Mountain, like the evil demonic bat wings, the ghosts, like all of it. It's cool. I love this. I think love this reference for this like real creepy character in Disney mythos. Also, I just love Chernobog. Like, just the design of Chernobog is terrifying, but also that is
absolutely menacing.
I think it's also one of the big pyrotechnic moments. That the snake is also pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, be remiss if we didn't talk about the snake a little bit. Like that giant Jafar snake puppet. And then, of course, there is the showstopper. We got
Steamboat Willie.
Now, this is show Ender, which is also freaking amazing. But no, it's the dragon. We got to talk about the dragon.
Yeah.
The dragon that sets water on fire.
You mean the dragon that sets oil on top of water on fire because oil and water separate?
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean. It's this cool moment.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I love how this dragon still works. It is such a cool effect of like, oh, this is why you have a giant mountain. Because you have a gigantic fucking dragon animatronic.
Gotta hide it somewhere.
Back there. I want to know how this thing operates so badly.
I really need a defunct not defunct land. What's the other one? This is like the deep dives into like how attractions work. Oh,
I don't know. I can only think of Defunctland right now, just because
there is one. Disney. I will find it. Amusement Labs does great how it works videos, and like they've done them on Indiana Jones, Mickey and Minnie's, Rise of the Resistance.
Oh yeah, I think I watched theirs for Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah, Art of Engineering does great videos too, but I'd love one. Let me actually go through their channel and see. I don't think they've done one on Fantasmic, but they definitely should.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, animatronics in general are always these really cool things. And I will always and forever love them. This is one of the coolest in the parks to me. Like, it's not even because of the actual animatronic itself. It's just because of how it's used. The way it combines, like, the fire, like, the music and, like, dialogue and just kind of the anxiety of the moment for Mickey. For him to pull out motherfucking Excalibur. Like...
A number of times I tried to pull that damn sword from that damn stone, and he could do it like that. Like it's nothing. He does it every night.
He does it
That's
every
not
night.
fair.
Like
every
clockwork.
goddamn night. It's almost like it's staged.
But yeah, and then like you mentioned the finale, but the finale being Steamboat Willie, and every single character that shows up in the show shows up on the boat. It's just so fun, such a moment. The music, especially, like I keep shouting it out, but like the music for Fantasmic has kind of become iconic, at least amongst Parks fans. I still have like the long, like 30, 45-minute version of the original soundtrack on my phone.
As you should.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't think anyone does production the way that Disney does. I think the unison of the acting, the sound design, along with the music and the puppetry and the pyrotechnics and the acrobatics and everything is just it's next level. And I know we say this a lot because we do a lot of parks episodes because we both love the parks. And it's going to suck not going for a couple of years. But like it is something where if you are a fan of this stuff to any degree, if you're listening to this, I would expect you to be either a fan of us or a fan of Disney in some way.
I would say if
and
you're
if
40
it's
minutes
us,
into
what
this
is wrong
show-
with you?
If you're 40 minutes into this show, where the highlight of this show has been a light up cup, yeah. What are you
Also,
doing?
great conversation. Don't sell us short. God damn.
I'm not selling us short. Let's be honest with ourselves. The highlight is this cup.
Yeah, you're not wrong. The cup is God.
Look, I have to justify spending the money on the cup. I'm sorry.
You really don't. You wanted the cup. The cup makes you happy. You don't have to justify it by making it into a prop. But I appreciate the bit. No, if you're into this stuff at all, it really does behoove you to go and visit a park. Hi, what's up?
Yeah, I think this is one of those where it is a god tier show. It is to this day one of the best shows in any theme park ever.
It is one of those things where if I've got Park Hopper, every night I'm ending my day with one of two things.
This
Happily Ever After.
Happily Ever After.
And this show.
Yeah. I feel like that's a really good place to wrap up this conversation on it. Like, go see Fantasmic. I've pulled up a couple clips since we've been talking about it. And if we haven't sold you on it, just go see for yourself. This show is so good, so
It's
fantastic.
worth seeing.
Go check it out. Let us know what you think in the comments below. But Mitch, if people want to keep up with us, where can people find us?
At D plus us all over the internet. YouTube's a great spot for that. You and I are all over the place. You at GriffyDpad, GriffIDPAD. Me at Mr. Mitch George, and links at MitchGeorge.com.
Yeah, check us out. Check out our other stuff as well. We have other episodes up. Our last episode was all about Inside Out 2. Our next episode will be about Deadpool and Wolverine. You can also check out D plus Us Weekly, the show where we talk about Disney Plus shows, where we are currently wrapping up the Acolyte series. What are we talking about next on that show? Who
The
hell
finale and
knows?
whether or not they stuck the landing.
Oh, no, I mean after the Acolyte.
Oh,
Probably Win or Lose.
Agatha?
Well, I think Win or Lose comes out before Agatha.
Do we have a date on Win or Lose?
No, but it's rumored August. Anyways, keep an eye out for that. We do that show as well, and we have other stuff that we're working on. So go check out all those things. We will be back in the next episode, but until then, folks, have a magical day.